Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for November 29, 2022, the Light of Day edition. And we begin with that story from Bloomberg. Wall Street whistleblowers tip off the SEC, but hear nothing back. So there have been approximately 60,000 tips sent to the SEC, and about 300 have resulted in awards. But the point of this article from Bloomberg is that whistleblowers and their attorneys get no communication from the SEC, typically for years. One person interviewed had sent in a tip in 2016 and never heard anything back. So the tips are coming in, but the SEC is not responding at all. And whether that's because of a decision not to communicate with whistleblowers, to keep them in the dark, because of the slowness of the way FTC investigations work, whatever it may be, it's a very long road for whistleblowers, even when the SEC finds merit in their position. Let's hope the SEC could actually do something about that. Next up from Financial Times, nervous auditors are re-examining crypto clients after FTX collapse. Businesses that need their financial statements audited, crypto businesses rather, are probably going to have to pay more for it, and they can thank their good buddy SBF for that. The collapse of the crypto empire has put a spotlight on auditors signing off on the books. You might say, well, Tom, isn't that what auditors are supposed to do? And I would say, well, yes. But guess what? They haven't been doing a very good job at it, as shown by the 2 audited financial statements given to various FTX, or at least 2 entities. So auditors are going to be in the crosshairs over this one. Next up from Reuters, will the U.S. Supreme Court gut corruption cases? Given the corruption of this Supreme Court, probably. They heard oral arguments on Monday about bids from 2 convicted New Yorkers convicted of bribery and fraud convictions. And the justices are considering the appeals of these 2 individuals. The Supreme Court has recently limited latitude of prosecutors in bringing public corruption cases. And this Clarence Thomas even said, why on earth are we even bringing corruption cases? I think that tells you all you need to know about Clarence Thomas. And our final story is from Wall Street Journal, as Meta fined $276 million for allowing data scraping in Europe. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.